Welcome to the Hope and Thinga podcast, where we discuss Indigenous impact, the power of Indigenous business. I'm Melissa Atkins, the Training and Development Coordinator, and this is Crystal Cedino, the Training and Development Manager for the Native Learning Center. Today on the show, we are excited to have Michelle Meza, Certified Mindset Coach, Branding Strategist, CEO of Luxie Coaching and Consulting. Michelle, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, ladies, for having me on this podcast. I'm really excited to talk about everything Indigenous.
Let's go. I love it. This is such a great topic to cover too, because we are in the month of Indigenous people. So I love it. Let's I guess let's go ahead and kind of dive in. Michelle, do you want to talk a little bit about your business and like who you are and kind of like your background and all that?
Yes, I would love to do that. Okay, so I have been a private consultant since 2010. They label me as this serial entrepreneur. So I've started and I've sold several businesses, lots of startups. I have lots of experience with startups. So over during the COVID pandemic, I really had a time to really focus on what I really wanted to help people with. And so that's when it was a reset for me. And so during the pandemic, I picked up a couple coaching certifications. So I was able to transform my mindset with some very good just therapy and different types of coaching methods. And so I thought, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to help people because everyone I talked to, they were struggling with their mindset or negative thought patterns or just past trauma like myself. And so I really wanted to find a way to pave an avenue for them to go down and to heal like I did. So, the other side of healing is wonderful. You're able to just, live life more abundantly. And so I took my mindset from a scarcity mindset over to an abundance mindset. It completely changed my life. It made me a better person, a better leader, a better mother, a better friend, just overall a better person. Um, so I use a couple techniques. The first technique is identifying negative thought patterns because we really need to dig deeper and really find the root of the problem. And then the other or the other technique that I use is emotional intelligence. And so once we figure out, okay, this is how we identify our negative thought patterns. We've identified them. How do we fix them? So once we work through some methods that I've developed to switch that mindset pattern over, then it's like, okay, what do I do now? I need to manage my emotions. And so that's why I incorporate emotional intelligence. I fell in love with it. I was actually in with one of my mentors, and he had me read Emotional Intelligence 2.0. So that's where it started for me. I'm like, wow, this changed my this changed my leadership, how I led people, how I manage people, my emotions, good and bad. And so that's how I incorporate that into daily lives and in business and leadership. I'm also a branding strategist. So I partner with small business owners, startups, um, entrepreneurs, and we get together and we develop a strategy. And so I help entrepreneurs build six-figure brands through marketing and branding and just really diving into where they want to take their business and how to get it to six figures and be successful. I use a couple of techniques for that. So storytelling. So there's a cultural perspective, my idea, my thought process behind that. But I also incorporate that into someone's brand. So the stories of our elders. It's really neat. I grew up with listening to those stories, and then my youngest daughter, she's really interested in carrying out those stories into future generations. And so I thought, wow, why can't we take this into the business sector? And so that's where it starts. Every brand tells a story from the logo up until, the transaction with the customers. And so I incorporate storytelling. And then I also build sales funnels for lead generation. So that's another piece as to how I help people take their small business and transform it into six figures. So
No, that's absolutely amazing. And that whole emotional intelligence aspect, I couldn't agree with you more. I definitely during the pandemic as well, I went through the sort of like, I don't know, metamorphosis, if you will, this huge change on understanding, how I handle things, how you just, everything to deal with or that encompasses emotional intelligence. So I do love that you incorporate that within, um, businesses essentially, and speaking about working with indigenous businesses, what can you tell us what are some of the benefits in doing so?
Oh gosh, yes, tons of benefits. So I want to share some statistics with you around that. Um, we are here. And you've heard the term, this is our land. We are here. We are here. Well, let me tell you how we are here. So there are 476.6 million indigenous peoples globally. So that's global level, of which 238.4 million are women and 238.2 million are men. And that's according to the International Labor Organization. And I pulled some data and statistics from different places, but that really stood out to me when I was reading a couple white papers back about 6 months ago. I was digging into, just how big of an impact, because we are here. So I want to know the impact. So this means businesses are frequently in close contact with indigenous groups, natives, native businesses, tribes. And so we are improving the relationships and becoming, which is increasingly important. And so of that, there's been a 74% increase in the number of businesses according, I'm sorry, there there've been a 74% increase in the number of businesses operating in the indigenous business sector, which is more than double if you think about it. So we're talking about, globally, we're talking about nationally here in the United States, Canada, those neighboring countries. And so more than 22,000 jobs are created, 100% growth. So if you're thinking about growth, we're doing it. So we're not only here, but over half of those numbers that I gave you are small businesses. They make up small businesses. And so, small businesses are considered under 50 employees. So that's just amazing in itself to think, wow, we are not only contributing to the economies, but we are also creating jobs and we are producing results. And that's huge. We work hard as Native people, and we take pride in who we are and what we do, and we're just so passionate. And I just love how, you know, the world can benefit from that passion.
I completely agree with you. I love how you said that the world can need like look at the passion and kind of take a note from that chapter. I definitely think that that's something that we should all kind of try. Definitely have more passion in everything that we're doing, and especially how you said during COVID, I myself, like Crystal, went through a dark cloud. It felt like during COVID. So to hear that you made a positive impact about going through the certified mindset coach and the branding strategist and just doing all these great things to keep you focused, I think is amazing. And I love how small businesses, like the statistics, I think that was great because it really shows you how much they've proven and how far that you have come as a small business. With that being said, why should investors and organizations invest in small businesses and indigenous businesses?
Great question. So, Native Americans, we are thriving in small businesses in a variety of industries. A lot of people think, oh, we're jewelry makers or we're artists. No, there's a variety of industries that we're really diving into and dominating the industry. So those include, of course, art, auto repair, barber, beauty, catering, construction, consulting, which is the area that I'm in, fashion, jewelry, yoga, and businesses catering to hospitality and tourism, which is, I found interesting. Um, so that all those industries account for over 14 billion in economic impact.
Wow, that's a lot. That's amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That
I
is insane if you think about it.
when I read that, I'm like, wait, let me read that again. I had to read it several times because I'm like, surely they made a mistake. Do we really have that much impact? But we do.
Yeah.
And so, that's key to investors looking at small businesses. And so, their investors look for ways to distribute their money. And so they look at different types of industries, like a lot of those I mentioned, and they're not only investing in the stock markets anymore, with us going into possible recession here in the United States. And so they are looking for areas and industries to spend their money. And a lot of people want to do business with us. They're curious about what we do. They see our passion, our stories are being heard, and our we are getting out there as people. And so I'm very excited that there's such an interest to work with us and really support us. And um, I had shared on, I think it was like the first day of November, I had shared on my social media pages how you can support us, and that it includes farming, buying local, buying native, whatever it is, I gave different ways. And so, that's where it starts. So when I talk to any potential investors who are listening today or in the future, I want you to think about how ways to support us. So it starts by, okay, I need to find out what they have to offer. I need to actually be a customer and use their products or services. That way it cultivates that relationship. And so they understand what we're about. Our stories are told through products and services, and just how we treat people and how we do business. And so that and when you do that as an investor, there's that creates automatic buy-in. And so, they're like, wow, I support this company. I want to take them further, and I want to put my money there.
Who was it? There was a YouTuber I was watching and talking about I think she was talking about the makeup industry, but in general she was mostly focusing on the fact that we control our wallets and where our money goes, and it's so important to be cognizant about where you're putting your money. And look, I love big box stores like Target and Walmart and all of that. I get it. You know what I mean? They have all the most, convenient items and so on and so forth. But I think when you also shop local and you have that opportunity to do so, not only are you getting better quality, I mean, I know specifically, in Indian country, like I know how true that is, but you're also supporting, someone's livelihood. And I think, I don't know, that always makes me feel good, in a sense, like you're recycling money back into the community so that you can build these micro economies and so on and so forth. So no, I love that. And over the pandemic, I think I've become more cognizant of that as well, like being more aware of, like, what, this person sells this better quality, you know what I mean? Just things along those lines, better quality, and it's unique and it's different, or, whatever it may be. Let me go ahead and, like purchase it through them versus like, finding it on Amazon, not to hate on Amazon, because I know we all love it. Jeff Bezos, don't come for me. But I will say, like, over the years in working like for the Native Learning Center and so on, so we even apply that ourselves for when we go traveling, like we stay in native owned hotels, and we, you know what I mean, like we do things within the community to also help support that. So, and I think it's just such a key factor, because like you said, like investors see that and they're like, oh, we understand the value that this brings. So I think that's quite incredible. But let's go ahead and talk about the future of our youth, because not that long ago, our compliance and resource development director, Vince Franco, and I went out to South Dakota to provide a small business, training class, which went really well. And I was so surprised to see the amount of youth involved. And this was within the energy field, which I also thought was like, what? Like, I'm telling you, like engineers and just awesome, crazy ideas. But yeah, let's talk about the future of our youth and emerging and future entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. And what's exciting about that whole sector of just our new future leaders is the direct impact. So from investors to the Buy Indian Act through customers, any way you want to look at it, it feeds back into the local communities. And so of that, the dollars are kept there and it's able to fund these types of programs. So there are certain programs that are um, being created specifically for young and budding entrepreneurs. And so they have more opportunities now more than ever. Even back when I'm not going to, this will date I'm not going to say how long back, but just when I was in college, I received a scholarship. I was one of the 4 for the National Center to receive a Women in Business scholarship. And there were, thank you. So excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And just the the feeling, I'll never forget the feeling when they flew me. I was a small town native community girl flying to in Oklahoma rather, flying to LA to receive this scholarship. I have never flown on a plane, never been outside of the area. This was just this whole new world, and I'll never forget the feeling when I walked up on stage and I'm thinking, wow, what my ancestors did to get me to this point, but also I'm paving the way. I'm blazing the trail for future generations, because at that time, that was the first year they offered it. And since then, they've expanded it, and there's over like 20 people. And then the Native 40 under 40 program was developed. So all of these programs started with one person, one idea, one opportunity, someone backing them financially, and just the impact that it makes on one individual. And when you think about it, I have 2 daughters, and so I've I have the entrepreneurial spirit. Well, so do they. It just created this drive in them, and they want to share their heritage. They're proud of where they come from, and they want to share their talents in a way where it provides income for them and their future families. And so industries like engineering and energy and solar energy, like all of that stuff, is really, the opportunities are there, and they're being created because people understand what we have to offer. And that's the future of our youth right there, because a growing number of children, of youth, they're becoming entrepreneurs. They don't want to go work for organizations. And the federal sector gets that. We have in the federal contracting world, we have set asides, women owned business, native owned business, minority owned. So all of those resources are being developed and being banked for us. And so, you know, we're paving the way, and the future is so bright for them. So what that does is, the word gets out and it creates this drive in them. So we're empowering them, and we're giving them, the courage to step out on their own and become their own boss. And because what happens when you work for yourself, you're allowed to express yourself creatively, artistically. If you want to include something with your tribal background, or in your family, whatever it is. For me, I honor my grandmother. She was part of the Indian Removal Act, and just her stories that she finally shared with me. And even the fact that she didn't know how to read. She had a 3rd grade education, because part of that removal, they went everywhere. And so all of that stuff was lost when they resisted in the schools. And so just being the first to graduate college in my family, now my children have, that just opened up so many doors. And so when we pave those paths for our youth, the possibilities are unlimited. And that's what's encouraging about this whole thing. And that's why I wanted to talk about it today, because I want people to be aware that, hey, we've got a whole generation of kids who are growing up, and they are inspired, and they want to release their creativity to the world.
I love that. I really do think that everyone truly, especially children, have such a potential, and we just need more people like you to tell them to believe in themselves and have the passion and I truly think you're a good role model for the youth and for even adults. It's never too late to follow your passion and really give into your community and help that friendship aspect of buying locally, seeing what you can do, what they do provide for you, and how you can help out not only yourself but also the community.
Yeah.
Crystal, did you want to add anything?
No, I'm a huge, huge believer that, you mentioned this earlier, Michelle, that it only takes one person. And I believe that wholeheartedly because it really does. You'd be surprised what one person does to essentially be the catalyst for massive change and inspiration and, all things, that would encompass that. So yeah, no, I love that piece too, because I really do believe it. And with youth in general, like Alyssa mentioned, possibilities are endless. Like, and then you also mentioned the amount of resources that are available now. I remember when I was growing up, we didn't have half of the things that, we do now. And, I'm just, blown away about what is out there. I'm always reading things, I'm always researching stuff. So it's always interesting. And then, doing these podcast episodes and learning from individuals like yourself, like the amount of resources that are out there is just insane. So part of why I love this podcast, it's an ability for people to learn what else is out there just auditorily or visually if you're watching it on YouTube. But yeah, so no, I love this is a great conversation and just thank you so much for, having this with us and coming to us to have this conversation because it's so important. So important.
Thank you so much. And, one final thought I would like to add, my goal every time I get the opportunity to speak to a group of people, I make sure that they understand that, or give them permission rather to reframe their brains. My goal is to transform their minds and their thought process about whatever it is. So in this case, indigenous people doing business with native businesses. And that's my goal is to shatter these stigmas. And I'm a single mom and I have a book coming out this month, by the way, about shattering this.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Shattering the stigma of single motherhood. And so I tell my girls, I was given a choice. You know, you have a choice either to, with circumstances that are out of your control, you can either remain a statistic or you can turn it around and use that as a platform. And so that's what I've decided to do as a single mom. And my kids, they're happy, they're healthy, they're whole, and they are strong women. I am raising strong women. And even though our circumstances are different, our family looks different, as do over 50% of the households nowadays. If I can do it, if I can start a business and be successful, then anyone can do it. And that's my goal every time I'm able to speak about this topic. I want to let everyone know that they have the power from within, from the creator, to make it happen.
Beautiful.
That's a very powerful message, and Crystal said it beautiful. Truly do think that is a great way to end this podcast. I hope everybody does take that to heart and really applies that to their life. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your life experiences and knowledge and really just opening up to us. We would truly appreciate it. Like you said, it takes one person, and you were clearly that one person that made a big change. And not only that, but now your children can look up to you. And that's what we need more of.
Thank
Agreed.
you, ladies, for having me. I really appreciate it.
No
Absolutely.
problem. Would you like to add anything else, Crystal?
No, I just wanted to give Michelle the opportunity to do a plug for her business and,
Yes.
contact information, resources, anything like that.
Yes, thank you so much. So I am on Facebook, Luxy Coaching and Consulting. I am on Instagram at Luxy Consulting and also Coach Michelle D. I'm building a personal brand just for leadership and public speaking. And my books that are coming out. So make sure the link is in the bio. So make sure you click on my link on Instagram and you can find information. Also on LinkedIn as Luxy Coaching and Consulting. And my website, luxyconsulting.com, and that's LUKSI consulting.com. So I've got lots of digital products coming out to help you start your business. I have some freebies to give out, so please contact me or click the link in the bio and Instagram to get a couple of those freebies. And yeah, so if you need mindset coaching, I'm here for you. If you need startup consulting, branding, or marketing, I'm your girl.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Well,
you.
that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you to Michelle Meza for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the episode. As always, thanks for listening to Hope a Thing, a podcast. If you enjoy our show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Also, visit our website, nativelearningcenter.com, to find more information on upcoming webinars and virtual trainings. Be sure to come back for more content. Thank you.